Perfect. Right. Okay, well, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming. On a very rainy day, I was worried that we'd all have a bit of a washout and everybody would just be like, sack it off. But no, it's really nice to have you all here. This is quite a fun day. We were obviously, so I'm Samantha Cusick. Let me intro myself first. I'm a hairdresser, salon owner, all of those sort of things. And I also have a podcast, which is called the Silly Little Girls Club, which is all about having conversations around empowering women and, real honest chats, like not fluffy chats where it's like, top line stuff. It's like stuff that we actually talk about with like our friends and, those real conversations that are important. And today, is something that we wanted to do as an extension of that. So while this isn't officially a podcast episode, it's kind of those vibes. And I very much feel like we're sat in Central Perk right now on Friends in this setup. It's really fun. And this topic we want to talk about is like obviously everything to do with hair loss and what that means and what we can do about it and why we experience it. And honestly, all of us at some point will experience some sort of version of it, whether that's, from stress, hormonals, whatever it is, we're going to get into it. And essentially, hopefully, if you give us an hour of your time today, we can try and help you not go bald, which is basically what we're all here for. So yeah, the quick overview of what's happening today is I've got two wonderful women with me here who I'll intro shortly. And we just want to have that real conversation about, causes of it, why it happens, and what we can do. And I think that's just something that we all really need to know as women. So I have the amazing Sofia, who is like the absolute scalp genius trichologist. So yeah, very amazing. And we have Laura, who is the founder of CENTRED, which is an incredible brand that is, she's going to share her story, but all around is founded because of this, what we go through. And you've all got a lovely little goodie bag in there. And just before I forget, because Karen told me to mention, inside the goodie bags. Oh, wow!
You're definitely not turning it into a party just yet.
I mean, I think my mic might have gone off now. Karen, what did you push?
Yeah.
Was that you?
Party hasn't started just yet.
We've gone completely off mic. Oh my God, that was terrifying. And somebody really didn't want me to tell you what was in the goodie bags. Like, that was a lot. But anyhow, I'll shout just for a second. The goodie bags, they've got the like multivitamin formula in. That's right, isn't it? Oh, I don't think it's wrong. But if you do want to swap it out from the original formula, Kieran will be there because they have a specific like menopause one. So if you do want to swap it out, feel free. Like it'll be there. This is not on. And I'm going to be like, by the end of this, I'll sound even more like, the. So sorry about this, guys. Everything was going swimmingly. Oh, we're on the phone to someone.
Oh, okay. Should we just carry on?
Yeah, let's just carry on. So, yeah.
Can you hear me? Hopefully you can hear us at the back there.
So, yeah. Sophia, would you want to start and introduce yourself?
Good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to be here with you all. My name is Sofia Baig. I'm a trichologist and hair health expert. I specialise in diagnosing and treating scalp and hair conditions. And my focus in my clinic is scientific and holistic practices, focusing on stress, hormones, health that all affect hair health. And I'm looking forward to sharing some insightful information with you.
Yay! And you, Laura?
Hi everyone, my name is Laura Tudor. I'm the founder of CENTRED. So we are a hair care brand which I actually founded after experiencing hair loss from stress myself. I'm sure we're going to go into a lot of detail about that. But we really created CENTRED and what we now call the inside out method to help people look after their hair and recover their hair and like help prevent these kind of issues. But thank you so much. I'm so actually very honoured to be here with Sofia, who is our lead trichologist, and also as a guest from Samantha. So thank you so much for all coming down on this rainy day.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot to get out of bed when it's raining this morning. Oh, she's back.
Oh.
Okay, guys. So just in time, because I really just want to jump straight into this. And I think, for me, learning about hair loss, and I think when I speak to clients in my salon, it's so confusing. It's like, why is this happening? What is it? But like, I want to know, because I've obviously got experts here, like, what are the main types of hair loss and causes of it? Like the most common ones that you see?
So I would say hair loss isn't just one message, it's your body's way of letting you know. So when you know what message the body is sending, we know how to treat it. So every time someone comes and sits in clinic with me, they'll say, I'm experiencing all these symptoms, my hair's falling. And before I even start that conversation with them, my focus is usually tell me about your gut health. And that's a conversation that's very important because what we're putting inside our bodies is impacting our hair follicles. So the most common hair loss we're seeing in clinic is telogen effluvium, which is a temporary hair loss, and it basically is driven by stress, hormonal imbalances, nutritional deficiencies, post surgery, rapid weight loss, which we're seeing a lot of at the moment. And
Mm.
once we know what the trigger is, we can go and treat it. So it's a diffuse hair loss and we can recover the hair. The other one is androgenetic alopecia, and that needs long term support. So it's a genetic hair loss where it causes the follicles to shrink. And as that happens, we're wanting to make sure that we're focusing with what's happening from within, reducing inflammation in the body, optimizing blood levels in terms of your nutritional levels, if there's anything deficient in the body in terms of your blood report. And then we want to focus on supporting the hair long term and making sure that we are able to help our clients following a protocol that's suited for them. We also see postpartum, which many women, I certainly experienced it after having my children. And that is obviously your body's way of regulating with hormones, where there's a decline in estrogen. We've got the most wonderful hair when we're pregnant. I had so much more than what I've got now. And then when you go through the decline and your body starts to readjust and hormonal shift happens in the body, we then start to recover the hair. Anything past 6 to 9 months, I always say it's time to go and see your GP to go and get some blood tests done, because that then is something, there's something your body's telling you. Is it a thyroid problem? Is there an imbalance in your iron? Is there a deficiency there? What else is going on? Is your stress load, because having a newborn, what's happening to the body? So that's why I always advise my postpartum mummies to really go and sort of follow through the journey, monitoring what's coming out on your brush. I say this
Mm.
to everybody: when you're brushing your hair, people say I've got hair loss, and you can lose 50 to 100 hairs per day, which is very normal. If you're seeing clumps of it coming out in the shower plug and you're brushing it through, I try and say to monitor daily, depending on how often you're washing your hair and what you're seeing. The good news is these types of hair loss are temporary. We're able to recover, we're able to put you on protocols and assist you in clinic. However, the biggest one we're seeing is stress, lifestyle, where people are literally just trialing and testing and playing with products and serums that are on the market. I would say try to use one brand at a time and see the consistency and how it impacts your scalp. So trying to understand what's going on. Is your scalp itchy? Is your scalp inflamed? And I'm able to detect that when I'm using my trichoscope in clinic and advise accordingly of what I would recommend in terms of products and what's suited for you.
Yeah. I just want to pick up on something you said about like the 6 to 9 months thing, because so is that after they've had the baby, if things haven't started like shedding, or what is that? Like,
So the first couple of months, growth should resume. You
mm-hmm.
should start to notice first, I'd say first 3 months, your hair starts to regulate. The hair cycle starts to regulate. Anything past 6 to 9 months, then there's possibly a deficiency. You're either iron deficient. You want to check your ferritin in the body, your ferritin store, your iron level. You want to then make sure that you're getting all the nutrients. If women not breastfeeding, I certainly did. So for me, it was very much depletion in the body, fatigued, tired,
Right.
and a lot of stress because you're deprived of sleep. So your hair is the last thing your body will think of in terms of when we're looking internally. The body's response is to look after the major organs, and that's why we experience the hair. It's always hair, skin, nails. People say, my skin's not good, my hair's not good. The body's importance is to make sure that we're internally, the major organs are taken care of, and then your hair gets last dibs, unfortunately.
Of course, it's always the way, isn't it? And
Yeah.
I think, yeah, so I think the most common things that I see in the salon is, yeah, new mum sat down being like, oh my God, I've got a fringe. I've never had one before. And it's just because they always get this new hair growth around the front, and you're like, okay, well, that's fine. But I think it's the stress part of it that is just as common. And I experienced that, like launching a business. I did it very naively. It was very fun until it wasn't. And then I got very burnt out, and I didn't even realize until it was my hair. And like you say, like it's your scalp almost shows you what's wrong, right? And I
Mhm.
was like, this side of my hair had disappeared. And I got into extensions then, because I was like, not for length, but for thickness. And I was like starting to just like to disguise it. And it wasn't until that, yeah, I really took stock of what was going on and actually, dealt with that like burnout and imposter syndrome that my hair grew back, which was great. But yeah, is that the kind of thing that you were seeing?
Yeah, I actually had pretty much exactly the same experience. So I was running my previous business
Hmm.
and it was in the fashion industry. I was working pretty full on, not really looking after myself very well, and yeah, experienced quite severe like hair loss. So I was losing about a third of my hair over a period of about 2 months. So it was
Oh my
literally coming
God.
out in clumps. It was on my pillow. It wasn't just my hair either. It was like my eyebrows. It was my arms. It was like it felt quite terrifying actually
Yeah.
because it was like, when is this going to stop? Um, but yeah, it was intelligent effluvium. I am a researcher kind of by experience. So I started to do this deep dive into like what was wrong, with the help of my husband. I can't see him right now, but
It's
so
hiding.
Kieran is a multi-award winning hairdresser, and I was like really lucky to be able to come home to him. He was my first port of call to ask what was going on. I think like that was quite an eye-opening experience, because obviously you're seeing you're seeing your clients in the seat every day, or maybe like every 6 weeks to 8 weeks. So you might be the first person
To
that they,
notice it.
yeah, it's either notice it or they speak to you
Mm-hmm.
about it. But for us it was quite interesting because it's not really taught about hair loss in the hair like curriculum at all.
No, it's not.
And so that was kind of point one that was really interesting. But then I went to the doctors and had blood tests and was very quickly kind of like shooed away that everything was like normal. However, I knew it absolutely wasn't normal. It definitely wasn't my normal. So I started to do a bit more digging. I asked for my blood test results, and the range for like normal and then NHS is super wide. So you could just be in that kind of like lower space, and again you're considered like completely normal. But whereas as women we lose iron obviously every single month,
Mm-hmm.
we lose blood and iron in our blood. So it's little things like that that aren't really like taken into consideration. So that was quite an interesting experience. And then I went on this whole like recovery journey I could talk a lot about.
No, but it's good to know because, like, people. I think as women we kind of hide this, right? Like, if it does happen, like we hide it. Like, I've not to overshare a little bit, but I've got my younger sister is currently battling a blood cancer, and she's had to go through chemo, and she's so concerned with looking sick than her hair that she wouldn't go anywhere without her wig. And now she's had this like mesh system thing, and we're treating it obviously underneath to help it strengthen it, but she didn't want to talk about it, and she didn't want to like, and I think that's something that we do as women quite a lot when it's something that's outwardly, we're meant to have this amazing healthy hair. It's sexy. It's like what it is, and it's like it's part of who we are. And when that's gone, we panic. We don't talk about it. And I think doing something like this is really important to me to be able to like normalize that. And I think that's So I want to know about your recovery journey. I want to know what's gone on and how you did it.
Yeah, well, it was, it happened quite a long while ago now. It was back in like 2017. So this is like pre-COVID where it happened. And I actually think weirdly, COVID actually did quite a good thing for the conversation because obviously hair loss was a symptom of COVID. Like I'm sure Sophia can talk a lot about the mechanics, but actually it became part, like we were at home, we were kind of looking after ourselves more, but also it became much more of a conversation. Whereas like before, I think I personally really suffered in silence. Like it was really quite an embarrassing thing. It's that word like taboo. Like it wasn't really talked about very much. But I think with the help of like TikTok and everyone being able to open up about it a lot more, it's been great because people are much more comfortable with it. I also think it's been a whole like growing period for me to like to be quite like confident and to talk about it. And I actually am so grateful that we've been able to help so many people through this whole process. So once I did start talking about it, it was so like eye-opening, like so many people go through it, or if they hadn't been through it personally, they at least knew someone that had. And it was so as soon as I did start talking to anyone who would listen about it basically, that was really what I found. So we had no intention of starting a brand when it was kind of all happening, but we just realised we'd learned so much, and we realised that we could help so many people with like everything that we learned. So
Yeah.
I think that's why, off the back of that, I'm based within a salon, my clinic is, so working with wonderful stylists daily, and struggle, as in it's you sit with the client first before they come to me. So most stylists will look at scalp and think, oh, what is this? Is this psoriasis? Is this seborrheic dermatitis? Is this dandruff? Is this just a dry scalp? So that's why I then have spent the last year and a bit, it's finally there, it's got to go to CPD for it to be assessed, but I've created my own training handbook to be able to train stylists in the UK and internationally, so that they are educating their clients. I sit in their chair and they can actually say, I've noticed your parting is getting a bit wider, are you okay? I think it's an open conversation for us to have. We go through so many phases from, having the most wonderful hair as we're growing, and then becoming mothers, and then losing the hair when, postpartum hair loss. I mean, I experienced not as much of it, but I noticed it when I was diagnosed with endometriosis. And I didn't know what it was at the time. This is in 2016. Nobody knew what endometriosis was then. Nobody was speaking about it. The NHS unfortunately misdiagnosed me, and then I went to see a private gynae, which I was very fortunate and able to do. And he said to me, you may have a cyst, you might have your tubes taken out, are you okay if you had your children? I said, it's got to go, because it was causing me so much distress. And it wasn't the hair that was affecting, it was affecting me internally and emotionally. And I just felt this hot flush in my body, and I actually thought, am I going through a menopause? I'm a bit too young for this. And then once I got the diagnosis, I then really started to take care of my health. Since then, I've been very much about anti-inflammatory foods and how they impact our bodies internally, making sure I'm following a protocol for my my at-home use with products that actually work on my scalp, because the market is flooded with products. There's a serum coming out, there's a tablet for something, and it's all about, we all do our research, we really dive deep into formulations, but I think it's very important to just connect and sit with yourself a little bit and just tune into what's going on, because your body does let you know. I always go in deep, and that's maybe my Reiki training. I'm a trained Reiki practitioner, so I kind of really energetically sit with myself and connect with myself.
I mean, that's an inspiration. I definitely need more time to sit and connect with myself.
When you can. We always say we don't have enough time, but I always say 5 minutes. Even if you can just switch off for 5 minutes, no technology, put it all away, no kids, no husband, and just have 5 minutes. A cup of tea, whatever it is, 5 minutes.
I think that's why I fell asleep at 9 p.m. last night in the piglet up there. Because I just finally got in, and I was like, I'm on my own.
Yeah.
That was it till 7 o'clock this morning. But yeah, I think that's one thing I think that as hairdressers, and I can speak obviously as a hairdresser, and I've got a team of hairdressers, there is that lack of education for us around hair loss. And so I'm very personally excited to get your manual. And I think that's something when you go as a client to the hairdressers sometimes, I don't know how to say this without being a bit mean to hairdressers, but they might not know. And so I think it's time we need to take things on ourselves a little bit, and that's when educating yourself around this and being right, what is my scalp telling me? Yeah, maybe the hairdresser does know, so obviously worth having a conversation with it, but going beyond that and having a look and doing the research, going to the GP to check things, and then seeking out a trichologist, because I think, that's something now, thanks to socials, we know about trichologists finally, because they're doing wonderful work.
I mean, normally most patients will go and see dermatologists, but what happens is dermatologists will prescribe, and a lot of people, I mean, I would never discredit, because dermatology is fantastic, and I work with lots of different consultants, but I think it's really understanding, as opposed to putting something on your scalp topically and just saying, here's the steroid cream, or here, this is what you need.
The special shampoo.
Yeah, or a special shampoo that's going to cause, really irritate the scalp, and there's side effects to everything we take with medication, and then we're experiencing something else of a symptom that we didn't have when we first started initially. So I think it's always important to just try and see what you're doing, balancing out hormonally, checking your hormone levels, seeing what your stress load is, and then trying to figure out what your protocol is that you're going to follow. And obviously that's what we do in clinic. We're able to educate and advise. It's not just come in, here's, this many products and this is what you need to do. We want to know what's happening within to be able to support you better.
Yeah. Well, I want to go on to what is your scalp trying to tell you then? So how it's all about we'd like to know about all these different types of it, but how do we know what our scalp is trying to tell us? So what would what is signs that your scalp is unbalanced, and what does even unbalanced even mean? Because I see that all the time. It's like, my scalp is so unbalanced. I'm like, what does that mean?
So oh, sorry, Laura. I'm racing ahead. So imbalanced scalps, you normally start to feel a little bit of irritation, or you might see a dry patch somewhere, or your sebaceous glands, the glands that produce oil to keep the microbiome balanced, they then start to overproduce. So you then start to notice, oh, my scalp's getting a bit more greasy. It never used to be this greasy. You know, that's a sign that happens a lot. Oily scalps, you know, they then become flaky because the scalp is saying, I'm trying to balance myself, keep the oils balanced, but then I need hydration. So that's a very big sign where people start to feel irritated, itching. Inflammation, you'll always see at the back of the scalp. Nutritional loss is on the sides, and then genetic is from crown to the frontal part of your hair. So it's just educating, reading, understanding what's going on. What is it? Is it a patch? Is it a feeling? Is it itchy? Is it dry? And just not just going and diving into products, but just kind of just seeing and knowing what it is first, and then being able to treat it. That's always my approach.
Okay. And yeah, what happens? How do you treat an unbalanced scalp?
Well, I always find it really interesting that we have, like, you know, a regime, whether that's 5, 3, 10 step skincare routine, but then we like very often like forget about our scalps. And again, I think it's great because the conversation is much more like at the surface right now. But actually, you know, our scalps, they age, right?
Absolutely.
It's the fastest part of our skin that ages a lot
I heard it was
quicker.
6 times faster.
Six times it is.
It's a lot thicker as well, and we hold so much tension and stress in our scalps. So then obviously, like, so the tension, that can be something that shows up. You know, we all know how it feels to have a head massage, and like you're instantly kind of feeling more balanced. So your actual your follicles can like tighten when the scalp is more stressed. So that makes it more difficult for the hair strands to actually grow out. So, you know, actually doing the head massage and like relaxing and, you know, doing these things like connecting with yourself actually helps you relax, helps that tension ease, and will over time help your hair grow like thicker and therefore like eventually longer. But then you've got like Sophia was saying about like the imbalances, so whether that's like a dry scalp, a greasy scalp, there's all these like different things that can crop up. And I think like that's what we really wanted to like create with Centred, is like to create this like kind of ritual element of it, that you just like literally just like you're doing a haircut treatment, but you're just actually just giving yourself like that little moment of like investment and making the kind of like ritual out of it to bring you back to Centred.
Oh, I love that. Quick little room activity. If everyone puts their hand up, like everyone just put a hand up in the air. I promise I'm not going to make anyone stand up or do anything weird. But keep your hand up if you've got a skincare routine for your face that you do pretty much all the time. Okay, most of you though. Keep your hand up if you've got a scalp treatment and you treat your scalp. Two people. That's crazy. Oh, okay, fine. Right, yeah. But do you actually do it? Because I'm a hairdresser and I skip. But not as often as you probably should. But
you're in for a treat.
I'm an absolute lover for a pre-wash, and I've tried pretty much most brands on the market. When I'm trialing products, I always use them for a good 4 to 6 weeks. Just a single product to see how your scalp is going to connect with it, how you're, you know, is it going to balance out the scalp? Is my scalp dry? Is it, you know, giving the nourishment my scalp needs? And I absolutely love a oil. And then when I came across Centred's oil, I was actually genuinely searching for one. I know there's a few on the market, but I'm used to using like the exfoliants with beads and Himalayan salts and stuff. And I find that when I was using them in my clinic on my clients, some were great, but just some weren't suited for different types, especially like psoriasis. You need something a bit gentle and, you know, inflamed scalps. And the oil is one of my favourites, and I use it in my detox treatments. My clients absolutely love it because it goes from a milk to an oil. It gently exfoliates. I use it on severe cases of psoriasis that come in. I think that was the test for me, and it's either a yes or a no. I'm quite straight up when it comes to products. If it's not working for you, then it's like you leave it behind on to the
get
next.
rid.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's really interesting that everyone has that skincare routine, but only a couple have got into scalp. And that mindset is like exactly what I think that little shift needs, because like we need to start thinking of our scalp as it is an extension of our skin, and it needs that support to be able to, and we all want that. We want our hair to glow as much as we want our skin to glow, right? Like we want that dewy, gorgeous, I do, tight pored, like, you know, no lines face. But I also want that like really glossy, healthy hair. And so I feel like if you don't, you have to take that mindset, because we do put all that into our face. How many people take collagen, for instance, for their skin?
Yeah.
But do you understand it does stuff for your hair too?
I think
And
so
like,
much of it is like prevention rather than cure as well. Like we obviously help a lot of people that are experiencing hair loss, but you almost like don't have to get to that point. Like if you're looking after yourself in these specific ways, and it is like a little bit consistently. So it's like, you know, we call it the inside out method, but it's like, you know, taking your supplements, taking your collagens. Everyone's taking collagens. I've got a step forward anyway, but then it's like if you're doing it outside as well. So yeah, of course, like a great shampoo is only going to do like a certain amount, but just like it is so simple. But like head massage can actually do amazing things for your body and of course your scalp. So yeah, it's just like being consistent with those things, even if it's just like once a week. It's just like such a nice thing to do for yourself.
yeah, that's what I want to ask you guys next, is that obviously the power of like scalp detox and circulation. So if we do want to get like, you know, a bit more proactive with our scalp routine, where's a good place for people to start?
I would say, well, my day's a Sunday. That works absolutely perfect for me, where I'm able to use the oil to milk formulation. It's just gentle. I was raised as a little girl in our culture. We were, from when we were literally born, oil is going on our scalps. That's always been a thing. Massaging. I mean, my grandmother did it for me when I was a little girl. My mother still does it for me now. I do it for her. So it's just a ritual in our family, and you know, and it's such a special thing, because the touch, the connection, you know, getting that blood flow to the hair follicles, the scalp over skin, you know, moving the skin over the skull. That's really important.
You told me about that. Mine don't move. I really need to practice that, doing a bit more.
When I show my clients how mine's move, they're like, your skin's about to come off your head. But, you know, it's like releasing the fascia. You know, it's the same, you know, what we're doing with the same application for the scalp. It's just making sure that we're getting enough blood flow, because your hair follicles need nutrient. They need oxygen, you know. So it's just really important to, I say, exfoliating once a week, depending on your scalp type. So if you are flaky, you know, you're oily, I would say to exfoliate once a week. For anybody that's just sort of sensitive to normal, once every 2 weeks is more than enough. But I just think just having a simple routine, you don't need to have loads of products and loads of different steps. Mine is just basically exfoliating once a week. I go in with a mask. I use a good shampoo, a good conditioner. I'm loving the Scented. I'm going through my Karma shampoo conditioner, mid-length to ends, and then just really massaging. I really spend a lot of time. I've got a habit. I mean, I do it every night. My husband thinks I'm absolutely crazy, but I still make time for it. The makeup comes off, you know, get into the shower, and when I come out, I really need to release my, you know, my scalp, my neck. I go in with the sandalwood comb. I do a little ritual every single night. That's
Can we get a video? Have you done tutorials on this?
I have. It's on my Instagram.
Perfect. We're all going to need a link to that, because that's what I'm doing on Sunday.
Slightly envious.
I know, right?
And your hair, you know, your hair is an extension of your nervous system. You know, we're cutting it away, but you know, it's just really just giving it that little bit of self-care, self-love. As we say, we've got so many steps. My skin routine is super simple, and my scalp routine is simple. And you know, 42, it's still working.
I mean, it's the shiniest hair I can see. It's so gorgeous.
And this is absolutely how I like design Centred to be. However, at the moment, so I'm 12 months postpartum. My daughter just turned 1 a couple of weeks ago, and life is like completely chaos. I'm still finding my balance at the moment. So I've been like finding, it's much easier for me to use it it's kind of like on wash day. So I will put the treatment in on wash day, slick my hair back into like a bun, and then I'll just wear it in all day, and then just wash it out in the evening. And actually, like, it's so nice, because you all have one of our en route bottles in your bag, so that's a pre-wash treatment. So this is what I'm talking about now. But yeah, it's so nice because it smells very spa-like. The aromatherapy can like follow you around in the day. So yeah, I love using it.
Oh, that's a nice thing to do. Like whack it in, get a slick back bun or whatever.
Yeah,
put a cap on.
The longer the better. So yeah.
I always get rosemary when I was looking at the formulation of the scented oil. and this whole thing went viral on TikTok. Rosemary oil is growing my hair. And the thing is, I work with Dr. Leo Carrera, and he's a bit of a scientist, he's a researcher, and he's always in the lab. And he said to me, rosemary alone needs a carrier. So it will only do so much to your hair follicles. Yeah, it's going to stimulate, it's going to help, but you need other carriers, and you've done a fantastic job with the oil for sure, because you've got such a beautiful formulation, and when everyone has their first use, you'll fall in love with it, because I tried it and my clients absolutely, this is their go-to, and it's just really simple. One thing I would say is I see a lot of people running the product through their hair. I always say just try and allow section by section and parting and dropping, because you don't want to contaminate the actual. I see
product.
pets going through hair.
Guilty.
And I'm screaming at people thinking, and you see doctors doing it, you're thinking no, because you're putting that pipette that you run through your hair back into your bottle, and you've
What if it's a nozzle though? So it's like...
Yeah, so you can just drop. So when I use mine,
Yeah, because I get the pipette and you're dropping it back in the bottle, but what if it's like a pointy nozzle that's just like... Boop?
You can, and then you could just give it a wipe down.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for hygiene purposes.
Yeah.
But I'm super on the... I tend to just drop it through, and then I massage it in with my fingers. That's my application.
I think you're who we aspire to be. I want to know what common mistakes people are making with this. Can you overwash your hair? Harsh styling? What are the biggest mistakes you see people making with their scalps? Who wants to go first?
I would say one of the biggest mistakes is definitely overusing too much heat. Just
the hair dryers and stuff. Yeah, I think people forget how hot they get.
It's not so much the colour; it's how you look after it. Because my daughter goes to Samantha Cusick for her hair. Even though I'm based in another location, she refuses. She's staying loyal and true to your salon. And she sees a lovely Rachel there, and she has got curly, coily hair. And I remember when she had it coloured, and her hair's jet black like mine, and I looked at it and I said, there's no way you're putting blonde in you're going blonde. And she's like, I really want to put, really something a bit different. I've had it jet black and I want to change it. So she has the most beautiful curls, and what happens is, and that's down to Rachel, because obviously Rachel has given her the advice, and I obviously look after her hair at home. And her curls have maintained with the blonde in it. It's just overloading and using too much product, not understanding what your scalp needs. Just, there's so many things that people sort of get carried away with. And sort of self-diagnosing, we all do that a lot.
Googling, Dr. Google.
Yeah. I need this for my hair, this is happening, and then you go and start purchasing all these things. And that, in fact, is actually setting your microbiome off, and what I mean by your microbiome being set off is, it's your scalp then starts to itch because something's irritated, and you don't know what you're using the product line that's caused the irritation. So it's always say patch test a product first, and then start to use it. So that's one thing where people just start to flood products on that, that's not the way. It's always just being mindful and just knowing how to care for your hair, making sure you look after the scalp first and foremost, and then the rest of the hair.
Yeah. What kind of mistakes do you see people making?
I see so many. No, I feel like for me the most important thing is taking that inside out approach, and I think that is something that is very often overlooked, and I'd say the biggest mistake. So there's nothing going to be more beneficial from what's coming from the inside. Obviously your hair grows from your scalp, from the root, so it's if you're looking after your gut, if you're looking after what type of vitamins and minerals and the nutrients, your diet that you're eating, that's going to be the most beneficial thing for healthy hair. Our diets as a whole have changed so much over the past 100 years, and just even when you're looking at the quality of raw ingredients and food itself, we eat so much more processed food these days that it is become actually really vital to have a supplement and a good supplement like that, because not all vitamins are equal. Does everyone know the difference between synthetic and natural vitamins? What happens? So
it's absorption, isn't it? Something to do with absorption.
Yeah, so it's just I really love the example of folate and folic acid. Folic acid is what we're recommended, especially, and it's so interesting, especially just been through pregnancy myself, but it's a thing that you get recommended from the GP, but actually folic acid is the synthetic version of the vitamin, and what that means is that your body doesn't naturally metabolize it very well. folate is the naturally occurring in the human body version of the vitamin. And yeah, it's just much
See, I didn't know that at
metabolized
all.
much better. Yeah, no, normally just what happens is you just pass it through your urine.
Yeah.
But I find that so interesting. Like, why aren't we recommended to take folate? And yeah, it's yeah, I find that such an interesting point. So yeah.
I mean, I think we all make mistakes, don't we? Different things like that. And I think in the salon, one of the things that I see a lot of is people like just kind of burying their head in the sand and like just being like, it's okay, it'll pass and blah blah. And then I see them again, like you're saying, in a few weeks, and it's kind of still the same, or they've not like. And I'm just like, just go and just get a few tests and like maybe a little supplement and try it. And also I think people think about taking care of their hair, like, which obviously I, as a hairdresser, fully recommend taking care of your hair, but like that inside out thing gets forgotten. Like people, like really slicking their hair back so tight and causing those tension things, like that's, yeah, I see that a lot in the salons, like people thinking like, they're doing all of the things right, like taking all of the things, but then doing things like those, because we all love a slick back bun, right? Like we look like we've got our lives together. It's, it's great until it's not. And I see that a lot. And also people not brushing their hair. I'm not looking at anybody here, just in case you do it. From the root to the end. Like start at the ends and go up to the top. And then you're not putting all that tension on your hair and causing breakage and causing any excessive shedding. Like when I see people like with the hair, because I go to the gym now, I'm that person, started at a gym. And I'm in the changing rooms. I'm like, can I be that creepy person that goes up and like just takes the hairbrush and then like, no. And then like you do it from the ends up. And I think there's things like that really mechanical things as well, right?
Yeah, I love that tip as well about if you're. I always brush my conditioner through in the shower because your hair is like 30% more elastic when it's wet. So I always like brush my conditioner through, and then it's like I don't have to kind of like drag my hairbrush through when it's like half dry.
Yeah.
But one more thing I wanted to say as well is, especially regarding nutrition, is one of the things we always see is like we'll hear. I've actually heard this like quite a lot, even from hairdressers. They'll be taking like a biotin supplement. They're like, yeah, I am taking a biotin supplement, and it's like biotin like 2,000 times your recommended day allowance, and you're like, yeah, that's great, but you're only taking like one like vitamin. It's like so much better to take like a lower, broader, like wide range vitamin, and then you're like getting all those different like nutrients as well.
I think that's why it's so important with the blood. When you're getting your blood test done, we'll go and have a generic blood test, and you look at your blood work and you think, oh, it's all normal, but you're at the very end of normal. But when you're optimizing everything that is normal to full optimization and getting in the right nutrients and changing the diet, it affects, you'll start to see the transition come into play. You don't even have to go and start searching and looking elsewhere. You can actually just start treating from within, just with the food that you're eating. So that's so important to making sure you're maximizing your nutrient levels in the body.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that, because I think one of the biggest things that changed for me was I had to change my diet to a low GI diet. Thank you, PCOS. And since I did that, it started like really, and I cut like the sugary things and all the things that weren't working for me. Like my hair did really start reacting, and like it, and I do an oil, but not as often as we should do. And like all of those things, and they have really doing those little tiny things. I can't believe how much it's changed my hair. Like you would not believe it if I showed you pictures of a year ago. It was so broken, and now it's like healthy. So yeah, I completely, the inside out and doing the like all together as the full thing. It works, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So obviously, one thing I did want to touch on, and something that you've kind of like with like the holistic side of it and stuff like that, like is linking scalp care with like a mindset. And I'm sure we've spoken about this before. And it's like there is scientific grounding to it, I think. And then obviously, the products. But what is it about that whole mindset thing that makes scalp care so important? Is I guess my question, which is a bit of a complicated question.
See, I'm trained in Reiki, so for me it's touch. So most clients will come to me and I'll say to them, talk to me about your stress levels, and you'll get super, super busy, businesswomen traveling in and out, and they say, oh, I'm stressed, but I'm not, and there's acute stress and there's chronic stress, and it's understanding, and, blood tests do pick up on that, and they'll tell you which way where your body's navigating, and people will just say, I'm stressed, but not, and that alone itself You know, when a client comes and sits and I touch their scalp, just by touch, there's a box of tissues, and I've left it there because I've always used to get up from my chair to go to the other end of my treatment room. Now it's just in the corner because I'll just say, just turn around, the box is there, just take some tissues. Because there's a release, you know, you need to release, there's so many emotions and so much we're dealing with. And it could just be your day-to-day, personal, whatever it is, you know. And I just find that when I'm educating and I'm saying to my clients, you know, what's going on, it turns into a bit of a therapy session, and some are interested in receiving a bit of Reiki and some are not. And I think Reiki is all about balancing the energy center in the body. And when you're feeling balanced, you know, it's like so many people experience anxiety and so many of the symptoms and depression and so forth. It just means that you've got somebody to come and have a conversation with and talk to. And stress, obviously, you know, throws your hair into the shedding phase, and that's where it goes. But I think it's really important to be able to speak about holistic treatments, and I'm all about meditation. You know, are you meditating? You don't have to do it. It's just habits and small, you know, little and often. You know, you don't have to do 20 minutes. You can do a couple of minutes in the morning, having that tea in the morning, having that moment to yourself, and just balancing. A lot of people I've noticed that are tuning into those grounding mats. I love mine because I'm not walking
What
in
is
my
a
garden.
grounding mat?
You plug it in. It's like just grounding you to the earth. So I love to walk on the ground. I love trees. I love to be in nature. That's my thing. Where you really feel supercharged from the earth's energy, you know. And that's just me. Working with healers. I work with a lot of healers. So a lot of people find that really helps them. And I think that's one of my most popular treatments on my treatment menu, as opposed to, you know, all the other treatments I offer.
Oh, I'm coming to go. I want to get on that mat. That sounds good.
I'll send you one.
Yeah. One thing I do want to talk about, because again, as a hairdresser, and my clients come, and I've had clients that I've seen now for 15 years, some of them, and throughout me doing their hair has naturally changed, and it has got, you know, thinner and things, and a few of them are headed into perimenopause and in menopause, and it's I wanted to talk about what it is, what causes the hair change. And you know, a lot of my clients have got a lot of shedding and a lot more a thinner texture. And obviously I know that hair texture changes as you get older, and the colour changes when it goes, you know, when we go white, it can get a little bit thicker, a little bit coarser, a little bit frizzier. But what is it internally that's changing that makes it sort of leave?
It's a shift in your hormones.
Right.
So the hormonal shift in the body, you know, there's lots of people on HRT. I mean, that will throw, you know, it's everybody's the response is very different. Some women that are on HRT that I see in my clinic have the most beautiful hair. Some women start experiencing shedding. Some people say, you know, my hair's just constantly shedding. But I think it's really going and checking hormonal balances. I find when you're going through the early stages of perimenopause, menopause, go and get that test that's just focused on hormones only. You know, and that will really support, because once we know what's happening hormonally, we then know how to treat you internally to be able to help you with your hair health. You know, hair does become dry, you know, the sebaceous glands are not producing enough oil. You then need to change your product routine. So there's things that you need to change. So as your hair changes, you need to change and adapt, you know, to what your body is giving you the message. So yeah.
I find it really interesting that sometimes you can actually have your hair pattern change, or you can have curls forming, or curls stop forming when the head comes straighter. I find that really interesting.
Yeah.
But also that we start producing silica as we age, naturally. So we're metabolizing silica as we age, and that's vital for collagen production, and that's why collagen works so much when we start to take it. You know, in our lives that we're replenishing, but actually if you take silica, and then that is taking a step beforehand, and it's actually helping the mechanics of the production rather than just having supplementing.
Oh my gosh, there's so much to learn, isn't there? Oh my God, I hope you guys are finding this really interesting, because I'm about to buy silica and the whole lot, and we're all good. I've got a few. So before we did this, I did a little thing on Instagram where I asked if anybody had any questions. So I've got a few here, and I also want to encourage you guys, if you feel comfortable and you have any questions, then we've got experts you can ask. It's quite a good safe space to do so. But one of the questions that came up all the time was, basically, there's a few ways of saying it, but basically people were saying I'm stressed, but my doctor's telling me I'm stressed. I don't feel stressed, but my hair's falling out. and I'm just like, okay, what do we recommend there?
So juicy. I feel like, this is how we describe it anyway, that it's like a modern like daily lifestyle is stressful.
Yeah.
Like, we're expected to do so much, and whether that's like, we're looking at screens, our brain is still working, and then we're watching a second screen in the background. Like there's I think, again, for like 100 years ago, everything, like life is just so fast. So I feel like the level of like baseline stress has just kind of like increased quite like dramatically over the years anyway. But yeah, what would you say, Sophia?
Meditate, get that grounding mat.
I'm yoga on a
Yeah.
Monday.
Yoga.
I go to my yoga on a Monday. I never used to, and it really helps me just. My yoga teacher, Laura Stapleton, I have to give her a little shout out, which is absolutely incredible. I met her about 2 years ago, and I've been going to her class. It's a late class on a Monday, and that just really helps me. And it's a Scaravelli inspired hatha. It's all on mat work, and it's lots of breathing. And I know when I've had the weekend, and although I feel I've rested at the weekend, I'm busy. I mean, my kids are older, but I'm out, I've got something to do. I'm still kind of attending to emails. I'm still trying to do a bit of work. So the weekends aren't weekends off, but my yoga for me on a Monday is just my dream. It's like, I'll go there, I don't care. I'm getting home just before 10, and I'm getting into the shower to get ready for bed. It's just an absolute dream. So yoga, meditation, just anything that you can just really bring the body. I know it's easier said than done, but I think the best way to sort of bring it into practice is just little and often. That's how we change our habits. We're not expected to go dive into it and say, if I said to one of my clients, go to yoga on a Monday, she'll think, I've got to put the kids to bed. I'm not doing, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I think that's like such an important point, that it almost has to like fit in with your lifestyle. It has to be convenient for anyone to kind of
Otherwise, it's more stressful.
Yeah, exactly. You're creating a job for yourself, and I think convenience is so important to be consistent as well. And I love like keeping my supplements by my bedside table. I've got into like a really good routine because even I forget.
We all forget.
So I've got into this really good routine because I'll go to bed, and even if I've got my head on the pillow and my eyes shut, I'm like, oh, have I taken my supplements? And for me, that's like my little bit of like self-love kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
like doing something for yourself.
I made it super convenient that I'm just like, oh no, I haven't. I'll just sit up and take them from my bedside table, and then it's like, I don't know, it's just that little bit that's like mentally telling me I'm looking after myself. And obviously it's the impact of the supplements, but it's also that like psychological thing that I'm just looking after myself, and like that helps lower the stress. I really do think.
Oh, perfect. Is it true that you can get a delayed reaction with hair loss to things like stress, like, or trauma? Because like I swear I've had clients as well, like this was a question that came up, but I've experienced it with clients who've said, oh, this happened to me 3 months ago, but I was fine, but now my hair's falling out. Is that
absolutely
really okay?
So telogen effluvium will present itself 3 months after.
Oh, so that's a legit thing.
Absolutely,
oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So that's just how it presents itself. And stress is probably one of the main causes we're treating in clinic at the moment. So that will then, trigger on conditions where your scalp is now inflamed. So you've gone from having, serious loads of stress in the body, and now your scalp is presenting itself with, inflamed patches and dryness and all sorts. It just really gets busy up there, and then you've then got to think, okay, we now need to treat inflammation. We need to change the diet. We need to change products. There's a whole protocol that goes in place for that.
I think it's so interesting as well about like what that like stress could be. Like you said, it could be trauma, like it could be grief, so it could be a breakup, or it could be an operation that's got nothing to do with your hair, but it like impacts that. And I think that's like again like so like powerful to understand that like the impact that it can have on our bodies.
It's also kind of terrifying.
Yes and no, but like I feel like, again, it was so scary for me when I was going through that at the time, but if anyone's going through it, I kind of always am just like trying to remind them like not to worry, because obviously worry is making it worse.
Yeah, in a vicious circle.
Yeah, like most of the time it is like recoverable, and especially if it has been something that's been a bit of a shock, because it it just takes you off guard sometimes, but then it's just like that, giving yourself that extra bit of love, then it's totally recoverable.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I also know the answer to this next one because I've seen some miraculous before and afters on your Instagram and Centred as well. Like, can hair actually grow back?
Yeah, so it depends on the type. So any diffuse thinning, diffuse hair loss, we can recover. So anything genetic like androgenetic alopecia needs long-term support. So that is, you then need to go into sort of like, we then start to use exosomes. We're going to really working with regenerating follicles, waking dormant follicles, and there's a lot more medical treatments involved in that aspect. But when it comes to your, diffuse thinning, we can recover that. And I always say to people, I know it's quite traumatic to experience it when you are and it's coming out, because I actually went through a whole bout of it at COVID. It was coming out and it was coming out, and I was just thinking it's just got to do its thing. I had COVID, and then the hair started to recover. And this is just my trained brain with hair, was I need to get back into, because my nutrition in terms of depletion, I was so, I had no appetite, I didn't want to eat, so I thought I need to start, small amounts. I increased my protein, and then I started to massage, and then the hair just, I got to about this, and it's obviously grown out now, but yeah, it takes time. Hair loss, everyone experiences it. It's a journey, but you've got to be a bit patient with it, because you're not going to use something, within a couple of weeks and hope that your hair's, going to transform. No. I would normally say 3 to 6 months is a time period that I say to my clients, just be a bit patient with it, be a bit mindful. And when you're, really focusing on those practices and connecting, it always works out.
Yeah.
I think we're all women here, except for Kieran, bless him, wherever he is.
He's done a runner.
But obviously you all maybe have partners, husbands, and obviously men is such a different, we've talked mainly about women's hair loss here, but men's hair loss is quite a different approach as well. Different hormones doing different things. Absolutely. But that is one of the things we also hear, like all the times we'll hear, like, guys, bless them, that are like completely bald, and then like what can we could do, and it's the hereditary kind of thing as well. And obviously if it's like something that you're going through that's like more stress related, then yes, it's like totally like preventable and curable. But then the hereditary side of things is it's a different conversation.
It's the one where you see them all on the plane back from Turkey.
I was just about to say that.
Have you seen those things
they present
online?
themselves to me and they're like, what can you do? And I've had a hair transplant. So usually I sort of am super honest with them. I only use, I'd say there's one surgeon in London that I work very closely with, a hair transplant surgeon, but I do my research. I've got such great a network of team around me, from dermatologists to private doctors, and I always refer out if there's something that I can't do within my scope. I'll always refer out. There'll be infections in terms of like tinea capitis, which is ringworm, which I've had on my body for my kids when they were younger. But when it's in your hair and it starts to, it will just the hair will just come out in that patch. So that's when you need to refer. But I think generally you've just got to educate, because like you say, men, that is a common thing where gents are coming in, and it's hormones. Yeah. You want to be able to talk to them about their hormones. I mean, they're not super interested in talking about that, but it's the imbalance of the androgens in the body.
But I also think, again, like thanks to TikTok, like the conversation is there. Like I was in an Uber a couple of months back, and I was just talking to the driver, and we had like an amazing conversation, like really in depth about like the mechanics of male hair loss, and I was like, how do you know this? And he was like, I've been like learning it from TikTok. And I think like that is like a different, I think men are becoming a lot more educated as well, like thanks to social
media. The stigma's gone around like men taking care of themselves now so much, like it's not like manly men, and like it's quite, there's moisturisers out there for men now, would you know? Like if we can get Greg to use one at some point, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think like men's hair loss specifically is more like it has to be prevented like a lot earlier.
Yeah, prevention instead of cure.
Yeah, like especially if it is like hereditary. So yeah, I think it's.
They come to me then as young as 20 now. 20, they start to say, I'm parting. So then they get the adult hairline, where as in they, as age is approaching, then the hairline changes. So they think that they're losing their hair, but you actually say to them, that's your hairline. As as age is coming.
That's like a natural thing to happen. Yeah.
So that's absolutely normal. But I just think when you say that to them, and then they just go and pick up minoxidil because it's so easily accessible, and DHT blockers. You're taking DHT supplements, and I think there's so many things that I see flying around on the internet.
I do as well.
And I'm screaming at it all, thinking there's no way I can put, because what you want to understand what is actually going into your body. What are you putting into your body, and what it's doing to the body. How is your body processing it? And Dr. Leo Carrera says this all the time. He goes, you're going to pump your body with all these supplementations, and it's just expensive poop.
Expensive poop.
Expensive poop. It just comes out, you only get a very small amount of a benefit of what you're taking. So try and optimize as much of it as you can from your food.
Yeah.
Anti-inflammatory, there's all these like spices and different, my mum's always cooked with spices. That's always been a thing in our culture, but 30 different spices can go into one dish very easily, and it's all just natural. Like my evening tea, which I still drink today, is fenugreek seeds, cardamom, cloves, and fennel seeds. And I put that in hot water, and that's anti-inflammatory, great for your hair follicles.
What does it taste like?
Absolutely love it. My grandmother used to mix it up. She used to put a little bit of manuka honey in it, but my sweet tooth is disappearing slowly, so I'm more of a salty than
Does anyone have any questions or anything any myths that they've heard that they want, like, to know if it's true or not, or anything at all that we can help you with? Like, we're here if anybody's got anything, but no pressure.
There's one at the back.
Oh yeah, go. Hi.
I've been suffering with hair thing from stress. It's about 3 months ago. So I've gone through like a stage of trying everything, and then got to a stage where I'm really nervous to put anything on now because I'm worried it's going to get worse. And the skin care specialist that I go to, I have microneedling on my face, and she's opened up a conversation about microneedling on scalp, and I just feel like I need some more advice on whether that's a good. What I really don't want to do is make it worse than anything. So what are your thoughts, honestly, on microneedling on the scalp?
Microneedling is great as to help with recovery and waking dormant follicles. It depends on what you're injecting into the scalp. So you're applying something topically first, and then you're rolling. So I use exosomes, which are marine derived, and they communicate cell-to-cell signaling, and they're there to promote growth, really help with cell turnover, reduce inflammation. So there's lots you can do, but I don't know if you're open to say if you had a blood test done, that would be the first conversation I'd have with you, is to look into what your blood report is saying first. I'd give you a list of blood tests you could go and get done, and then we could then support with hair growth.
I think as well, like, again, it's that like classic thing to try not to worry as well, because obviously it takes so long for the hair loss to actually start, but then it takes a little while for it to stop as well. So it's a kind of like, don't panic. Like, if it's already slowing down, then it's slowing down. Like, it just has to go through that process.
It's also this time of the year as well.
Yeah.
It's something we haven't really mentioned, is that, like, as the seasons shift, it is a very prevalent time to experience more shedding now than at most parts of the year, right? So
Low vitamin D.
Low vitamin D.
Low vitamin D, because we get the most wonderful, from the summer months, spring, summer, and then we get into the winter. We're not exposed to any, like, yes, we're exposed to the light, but in terms of vitamin D, we're vitamin D deficient, so I take vitamin D supplements. It's also understanding what time you're supplementing. Flooding your body in the morning or flooding your body at night. There's so many different ways of supplementing in the body, and where those supplements are going. So just for you at the back, I'd say just to massage, moving the scalp skin will help, just to get that blood flow going to your scalp. So giving it a gentle brush, and then massaging, and then just the blood work also.
Could you use the oil when you're doing that to, like, massage it in, or would you not do that?
You can use just dry, but I think of oil it's nice to, obviously, if it's a good formulation,
Yeah.
you want to really go in with something that's going to help. And you want that blood flow. It's blood flow, and not, the nutrients. Your hair follicles need that.
Yeah.
And once that's flowing, and even if you're just massaging a few minutes every single night, you'll see the transformation for sure.
No, I also think it's important as well, if you are experiencing like a lot of shedding, to not neglect going to the hairdressers for, like, even just things like a trim, and just like that little bit of care, maybe do a scalp treatment or something at the hairdressers. Because one thing I experienced is I had very long hair when my hair started falling out. It was like down here, and this side, like I said, this side is where it got me really bad. And then I got it all stuck in a handbag handle, like a stupid handbag, and took it off, and then it took even more hair with it. And I was like, oh God, here we go. So it got to the point where I was like, you know what, I am just going to cut it. And I cut it to a shoulder length bob, which was very empowering. I've got to say, I'm here for a bob.
I did a very similar thing.
And then I've just been going to the going to the hairdressers. I own one, so I'm at it a lot. But I was making sure I had an appointment at it to keep having it trimmed like every 10 to 12 weeks. Just keep trimming and trimming and trimming, because obviously it takes a while for that hair to grow. And what I would notice is, and it was a really fun thing to do actually, I've monitored it on my phone, I should actually post it, is every couple of months I'd take my hair like this, hold it up, and just use the hairdryer to like blow dry that bit so I could seal the new growth. So I'm like, okay, it's happening, it's growing. And then now I've been doing it, so it's all been like sort of the same length, and I'm going to start trying to grow it again now, but we'll see how that goes, because
just not letting your split ends work their way
up, because then you're meeting everything and you're fluffy, and
and then people say, oh, my hair breaks mid end, and it's getting thinner and thinner. I'm thinking just regular trims,
regular
little
trims.
enough, and you don't need inches off, just
keep on top of it.
Just keep on top of it,
because then the new can grow.
You're always using heat protection. Heat protection is a must. And washing, I say, wash your scalp when it needs a wash. Don't leave it and put dry shampoo in it. I hardly ever use
I think
dry
just
shampoo.
touching on that shedding as well from the summer months, obviously, like we've been in the sun, like we might have like burnt our scalps a little bit, like it's that little bit of stress that's obviously going to like affect the length of the hair, like growing longer as well. So yeah, like a sun cap is my...
We love a sun hat.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions? Oh, lovely. Oh, we've got a few. Right, I'll go. I spotted you first at the back. You know what? I'm going to bring the mic. Will it work if I go over here, do you think? Let's try it. If you don't mind, just so everyone can hear. Also, I've been sat down for ages, my leg's gone numb. So.
Hi. So I've got a question about my daughter and her hair. She's got beautiful thick hair at the moment. She's 14, but she's really struggling with her scalp, mainly in the front. It was interesting you said something about the different regions and what the causes were. She has like really sort of thick, sort of scaly almost formation. So like I didn't think it was dandruff or anything like that. So I thought, oh, like her scalp's really dry. Maybe she needs something that's a little bit more oily enriched. But then she gets very oily hair here at the back. So I don't know how to kind of balance that for her, what products or anything I should be looking at to find for her. And is it also just she's 14, is it just hormones? Will it pass? Don't know how to help her really.
What's her diet like?
She eats pretty well actually. She's pretty good. She eats vegetables, plenty of protein, and she doesn't have like any kind of aversions to any.
Have you used any oil on the scalp at all?
I haven't, because I just thought, oh, it's going to make her hair even more oily.
Yeah. I would go in as a gentle, just an organic coconut oil to start with. When babies get cradle cap, my kids did too. They get cradle cap. The build up, I would just gently go in with some organic coconut oil, cold pressed, and just massage that in. She's not to sleep with it, just to massage it and leave it on for about an hour or two, and then wash it out and see how she goes. Give that a try.
And then after you've used it, you could maybe try the oil that you have in your bag, because it's got salicylic acid in there, which is a very, very gentle exfoliant, so that'll help remove kind of like the dead skin, but then it's a super nourishing oil as well. So like the oil will kind of absorb into the skin and kind of like make it softer, more gently to kind of take away, and then but it's very nourishing, and because it's an emollient, so oil to milk, so as soon as it touches water it turns into kind of like a milky consistency, and it's really easy to wash out, so you don't have to like cleanse it a lot of times, which is possibly what you're worried about, like washing the oil out. So yeah, that could be worth.
Just also patch test before.
Oh yeah, definitely patch test.
Patch test just before you use the product.
If you've got irritation already,
Yeah. Who else had a question? I'll come to you and then I'll come to you. I'm going to bring the mic because you're so close. If you don't mind.
I was just talking about overwashing. My daughter's 25, she's got really lovely hair, but she's washing it every single day because she doesn't want it to look like all oily or greasy. But then she's got a very dry scalp because she's quite stressed at home. She's got a stressful job. I'm trying to say to her, don't wash it every day. She's like, but then it looks like and greasy. So
that could depend on the shampoo conditioner she's using. So when your scalp starts to produce too much oil, so her scalp's possibly imbalanced, so she's washing it every day. The sebaceous glands are there to produce the oil, to balance out moisture, give moisture to the hair. So I would say to look at her shampoo and conditioner. Maybe try I love the Calmer because I've got an oily scalp and I've just started I use the
Daily Calmer.
Yeah, the Daily Calmer now, and that's really helped. It obviously washed it this morning, but I can actually go 2 days using it and my hair's not oily. By day 3, I can see the residual oil, but I would say definitely give that a go. Just change the shampoo conditioner for now and then see how she goes.
And again with the oil, like I felt like the oil actually, because if you think of it like a cleanser, like an oil-based cleanser, like you have with your makeup, but it helps like extend the time between wash days as well. So she might not need to do it very often, but helps balance that dryness out.
She uses the cowship. She loves the cowship from here.
Yeah. And then maybe try that just once and then see.
They've got the boost one I saw, which is a bit like, there's boost and soften, isn't there? So I don't know which one she used.
Wash every single day.
Yeah.
Would you agree that washing every
Or
day?
just like co-wash, like which is just like not to shampoo, like just to wash the hair and then like condition the ends, so you're not like drying the scalp out too much.
Would you say always sulfate free?
I would, as a hairdresser and colourist, I don't know if she colours her hair and stuff like that, but I do prefer something that is a little bit, but not all sulfates are bad, but you need to check which ones are in which products, because some of them have the bit ones that are like, they basically use them as like a detergent, like as a cheaper alternative, right? And then that's when they foam really nicely, but that's what pulls your colour out, and that's what can cause all these problems. And I think I'm not a fan of daily washing. I'm not as a hairdresser, because you're going to have to put all your hair through styling again, through all of those things. So it's not just what's happening to the scalp. But for me as a hairdresser, it's what's happening on the end. You're going to get colour fade faster. You're going to dry your hair out faster. You're going to, if you're not using heat protection, you're going to cause like damage. So, a nice little hair whip on the second day. It's always a nice option. Like that always works.
The other thing I'll add is a silk pillow. Has she got a silk pillowcase?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Because cotton will draw out all the moisture. So I say to everybody, silk scrunchies and silk pillowcases all the way.
Yeah. So I think she just has to try and not, and maybe like you say, I would swap out the shampoo, because I do love the cowshed, but I think stick with the shower gels, and then maybe something that's a bit more hair focused for a shampoo and condition. Being very diplomatic there. You had a question, didn't you, lovely? Let me come to you.
We've got our daily calm shampoo actually, which is in the Storex. So you can
I can't wait to get to Storex. I haven't been yet this trip. Sorry.
Hello. You've spoken a lot about postpartum ladies, pre and post menopause ladies, the more senior ladies who have hair loss and hair thinning. Be totally honest here, is there anything you can do as a senior lady?
Perfect.
I have actually had great results for senior ladies. I've treated a lady just with red light only and a serum. So red light has really helped. And one of my ladies is in her 70s and she's had great results. So I always say you want to start treatment earlier than later, because the quicker you start treating, the more survival. Once that hair follicle becomes dormant, within 2 years, if you don't activate it, you're not going to get it back. That's the honest truth. However, with that said, we do use trichoscopes where we're able to see if there's follicular openings there. We can't go deeper than that to see whether the hair's going to come through. So my advice always, if somebody wants to try, a treatment is not going to involve, because a lot of my ladies that, the senior ladies that come to me don't want to have microneedling. They don't want to try exosomes. Any of the medical stuff is very just, I want something a bit more simplistic, and, I want do the massage, the meridian, because I do a meridian scalp massage also. So do that, and then we can do a bit of red light, and that's really helped. And there's loads of cases on, I've seen patients from where oncologists are signing them off, and I'm taking them through their journey for hair growth after cancer, and it's just fantastic to see the results they get. So
Just the red light things that you can get to do at home work, because I did just get the red light helmet. And then
see that depends, because I say this, my device that I use, all the devices I use are medical grade devices and the FDA cleared devices. So anything I'm using in my clinic is all medical and FDA approved. With the ones that you see online, you have to do a bit of research. It's the nanometers, the wavelength that's being delivered to the hair follicle. That's really important.
let me make a note of this.
That's usually 650 plus. So 650, anything above 650 wavelength will help with with your hair. There's some great, I've used Current Body, I've tried.
That's the one I've got.
I've tried this. That's just a 10-minute device. Mine is a timed 30-minute device that I use. So so the devices are good, but you've got to be careful, because there's all these brushes out there. People are using red light.
This is that helmet.
Yeah.
It's like that helmet, and it's like you just put it on for 10 minutes, and apparently it's going to change my life. So.
You'll need
Good
consistency
clinical
with it.
Sophia.
If you're going to use it once
Yeah.
a week, then forget
No,
about it.
yeah.
If
Fine,
you're gonna-
every
yeah.
day.
Yeah.
I'd say every day, at least
Right.
6. I'd say a good 12 weeks of consistency with it.
You
10
can
minutes.
get like the baseball cap ones that.
I've got this giant thing that's like a transformer, so we're gonna go that, and I'll just put it on my Zoom calls.
I would also say the supplements as well. So we've called ours the menopause formula. However, I call it more like hormonal changes, really, to be exact. But it's the same mechanics. So, like I was saying about we start producing silica as we age. So, taking silica, which is in so it's bamboo extract, which is in our supplement, and that's the highest naturally occurring version of silica. So taking that every day, it's kind of like grouping it all together, but I wouldn't sort of change. I wouldn't call, or did you call yourself? Sorry, senior lady. Yeah, I would be grouping us all together. Sorry.
Perfect. Any more questions? We've got time. Oh, yeah, we'll come. Oh, yeah. Right, I'm going to come to you first, and then I'll come to you back at the back. Right, no, you're fine. Here we go. You're welcome.
You mentioned earlier about blood work and having blood tests. I noticed my hair starting to thin about a year ago, and I've been on a bit of a journey to get the regrowth back. And I had a blood test, and you mentioned about the NHS and the bandings, and they came back all as normal. And it wasn't until I dived into it, but I listened to a podcast about ferritin. And they said that something about if it's below 80, your hair just won't grow. So I asked the doctor what mine was, and it was 24.
Oh.
So I'm assuming that that's probably what it is. And my B12 is really low. So I'm now having injections here actually for the B12. But I'm not quite sure. I've started taking supplements for the ferritin.
Yeah.
But it's hard, isn't it, with iron? Because
Iron's
I'm
the hardest one.
Yeah, and I used to dip in and out of anemia when I was younger. I haven't really suffered much anymore, but it's just knowing like what route to go down. It's starting, my hairdresser has said it started to grow back.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just mainly really around the front and at the top here in my scalp. But I think I've got quite good scalp health. I don't have dandruff or flaking or anything like that.
Well, it could be super simple, and you've kind of solved it yourself there. But
yeah, hopefully it's.
If you give yourself like a course of like iron, whichever one you can handle, because there's different ones, right? And everyone metabolizes them different. There's like ones that are less kind of harsh. I did the same, so I got the ones from the doctor actually prescribed, and it caused all sorts of havoc with my digestion. But you can have lots of different ones. I know there's like Floridix as well, which is like a softer, like kind of liquid form of iron. But there's also things you can do to help with the iron absorption as well. So take a kind of smaller amount, have it with orange juice. Like vitamin C helps the absorption of iron. That kind of thing. Like maybe try and up your iron foods, and
I do eat really high iron diet, so I think it might be something more to do with the absorption.
Probiotic maybe to help, like specifically to help with iron absorption, like that's helping the bacteria in your gut, right? So
okay, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Right, let me come to you. There we go. Thank you.
I would actually, if you wouldn't mind emailing me your bloods, because I work with the doctor on a Thursday. And what he does is we will get the GP bloods, and then we will then review those and go through those in detail. He actually breaks down so it's digestible, because you see all these numbers and your face is looking at this page thinking, what is all these numbers, what does this even mean? So a lot of people just get told it's normal. So the idea is, and the reason why we merged our services together is that's his speciality. He deals with IV drips, nutritional deficiencies. He really takes patients from very low levels to really optimizing, and that's when I then take on the client where I'm able to treat them to help recover hair. So I'd probably say just drop me. I'm happy to give you my email if you want me to review it for you, for sure.
That would be great, thank you.
That's right.
My question is a bit general. I have quite curly hair, and one thing that I've always really struggled with is like frizz. And I've tried like various different gels, and like my favorite hairstyle unfortunately is to like have a slip back, just to create that kind of easier style. Do you think there's any gels in the market that are not necessarily good for your skin, but not like dramatically bad? Because I realized that a lot of the gels that I used to use would actually cause a headache. Obviously it could be the style. And now I try to use more oil or like a thicker cream. And another question to add on top of that is, which hairbrush is the best for you? So I started to, when I add oil to my hair, I started to brush my hair when it's dry, because in the shower I just feel like my scalp doesn't get enough attention, or my hair gets really really weak when it's wet. So what sort of hairbrush would you recommend in terms of like material?
So you've got the best two people right next to you.
Yeah,
So
literally,
I'll
I'm
let
like,
you answer
we've got
that.
this one, I've got this one. I'm gonna go back there and then answer those, and then yeah. So there's a few points to that question. So obviously, yeah, like best gel on the market or something for slick back anti-frizz, right? For curly hair. And then, oh God, I'm so clumsy. And then best kind of hairbrushes. So there is nothing wrong with obviously slicking your hair back, but I don't think it'd be the product causing you the headaches. I think it's going to be the tension, because like, you know, that snatch back, it happens to us all. Like I can't have a ponytail in for more than half an hour without wanting to cry. But there's a few ways, because obviously if you've got curly hair, you do need something with a bit more hold than an oil, because it's quite nice to stick your hair back with an oil if you can, because it stays wet and it stays that shiny look. So it's quite a nice way, and you can use it. It's nicer on the scalp. But if you need something that's a bit stronger, like, and it has a bit more hold, I personally like to use a mousse, which is a little bit like of a, you know, it's not so much of a gel, and you can do it like from. You shouldn't really put your hair up from when it's wet, but you know, it works. So I would tend to put in a mousse when my hair's wet, because I get frizzy hair. My hair's like quite wavy as well. Put that in and then use a soft bristle brush. And you know, there are boar bristle brushes, and there's like some really Mason and Pearson is like the old school OG soft bristle brush that, you know, costs a little bit of money, but it lasts. Like it's the type that it really lasts. And you can get, they do one but it's like boar bristles, and then they have like a little nylon piece that pops out, and that means you can get a little bit more like through the curl, so it's not just combing the surface, because sometimes with bushes and curly hair and thick hair you can't get in enough, like you have to kind of go over it, and it kind of just bushes the top. Whereas if you want to snatch it back, you need something that's gonna pull it back. And like that, for me, I put the mousse in and then comb, and with a soft brush or bush, just keep going until you can gather it, and then I finish it with a hairspray, like just a hairspray over the top, not a gel. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so don't put gel in it.
Like another thing, so absorbs bacteria. Like it,
Yeah, but then don't leave it overnight. Because would you go to bed with it slicked back? Because I wouldn't. I'd wash it out. I was gonna say, and I think the problem that you'd get with your scalp when you're doing slick back things and using a lot of product is leaving it to build up and not cleansing it out. Like if you've been doing if you've been using a lot of product in the hair, then I'd always recommend doing 2 shampoos like consecutively to make sure you get a deep cleanse, and then following up with like a treatment or whatever it is, because you need to get that out. But if it's frizz as well, like my favorite anti-frizz product is Olaplex #6. I don't know if you've used that. It stops frizz for like 72 hours, like I swear, and it's obviously strengthening for the hair. And you can put it in wet hair, let it dry. It's great as a leave-in curl cream as well, but you could put that in and then stick it. But I'm not a big fan of gels. I think mousses and hairsprays work a lot better, and they seem to be they're a bit more soluble when it comes to washing them out as well, because a gel can be sometimes really difficult to get out, and those other things like a hairspray and a mousse will slick down what you want, like any frizzy bits or anything. That's how we do it on shoots. There's again, I'm talking about other hairbands when Centre's here, but it's fine. I think there's a brand called Authentic Beauty Concept, and they have a product called Cosmic Blow Dry Jelly, and it's for blow drying hair big and bouncy. But the other thing it does is the most perfect wet look hair that you can imagine. It's in a pump. It's really easy. It's like vegan formula. It's really sustainable. It's really gentle, and it washes out really well. But all the fashion week backstages that we were doing just gone in September, and creating those really like frizz-free wet looks was with that, and then a hairspray over the top, and it washes out really easy. Yeah.
okay, last question, I promise.
Yeah.
Is the temperature that you should wash your hair with? Because I found that if the water is too warm, like I don't particularly enjoy it. So I try to always wash my hair with lukewarm water to think that I'm opening the pores to absorb the like ingredients of the sugar or whatever I'm using, and then always finish with a cold
Cold rinse. So yeah, it's a funny one. I think for scalp health, obviously you shouldn't be using really hot water to wash your hair, right? Like no, lukewarm is good.
Lukewarm is good. I have actually got into habit of just using cold water. Even the colder months, it's been a routine now where you just find when it's too warm. So ideally, in order for you to have the product penetrate into your hair shaft, you want to be able to have the temperature lukewarm, and then you want to seal the cuticle with cold water. Even if you tip your head back and do it in the shower all the time.
Not so bad.
So,
But from a hair point of view, washing your hair in hot water is gonna, if you colour your hair, you might as well just wave down the plug hole, because you're gonna open that cuticle, and then all of the colour molecules, because the hot water's like made the cuticle level rise, are just gonna rinse out. So you're gonna get colour fade so much quicker if you're washing with hot water. Like it's just one of those things.
And so sorry, is another question. A lot of like influencers that use oils, they always like recommend the oil when you go to the sauna.
I'll be honest, my biggest pet peeve is influencers giving you hair advice. Like, I'll be really honest, there's so much misinformation and so many just bad advice out there for different things. Like, if I watch one more influencer put a hair up with one hairpin and tell me that's staying in all day, I'm actually gonna scream. So I mean, but yeah.
I'm with you on that, Sam. I literally see it. Things pop up my screen. I'm screaming at them, thinking it's absolute misinformation. You can put a mask in. You probably receive more benefits.
Yeah,
from
from a
using
mask in a sauna,
in
great.
a sauna than an
A
oil.
mask.
But you're not going to get maximized hydration. It's like I say, it's consistency. Hair requires discipline, consistency, and once you get into that routine of looking after, making sure your scalp microbiome is balanced, your hair follicles, there's no buildup, your scalp is clean, then you're going to have the most amazing hair. Anyhow.
Yeah, I think a mask. I do love a mask in a sauna. I'm not gonna lie. I do feel like it does do something, but maybe that's just me and taking time for myself. But yeah, I wouldn't be oiling in
I
there.
think like oils as well, like they're so like broadly, like you don't know whatever is in the INCI list, unless you can read the INCI list. But an oil could be like full of silicons, it could be full of oh, it's a chemical term for the ingredients.
Okay, fine.
list.
Just so we're on the same page.
But there could be lots of ingredients there that you don't want to open the pores. Like I always like to say, I've used it in sauna like all the time, but it's a very like natural formula. I wouldn't leave it for very long, but it's basically a natural oil. Whereas like if you were putting something on like that you might think is natural, for example, Moroccan oil, it's not. So
Moroccan oil turns your hair yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway. Yeah, the Moroccan oil one can definitely turn your hair yellow. Seen that happen IRL. We've got time for one more question, I think, and then we can. Oh, perfect. Coming to you, and then we can wrap up, and you guys can get lunch or whatever you ordered today. And I'm going to break my ankle.
Responsible for that.
Don't you worry.
Another daughter question. I just wonder if you have many people coming to your clinic who used to be ballet dancers, because the tying the hair back, scraping it back since the age
Traction
of 11,
alopecia.
and it does concern me long term. I mean, she's 29 now and she hasn't got a problem, but I do wonder how much damage they do to the hair follicle doing that on a daily basis, and there's no way around it. They have to do it.
But it looks okay now. She hasn't got, fine. So if there's anything that might happen.
As a matter of interest, as much as anything, do you have...
I haven't had a ballet dancer come to my clinic, but I see lots of models. So after Fashion Week, I get a flood of them coming to the clinic because they want massaging, they want detox treatments. I would say just to make sure that she's massaging, detoxing her scalp. And if they are, depending on what they're tying the hair up with, just try, silk scrunchies. I recommend silk scrunchies. I used to use them years and years ago. Anything that you could get. I see rubber bands. As soon as I see a band in my clinic, I'm taking off the plant, putting it in the bin.
Yeah,
silk
keep my
scrunchies all the way
scrunchie.
forward. So so just if she's okay for now, I would say it's great, but that does lead to traction alopecia, just tight styles. There's a thing where you see lots of so many people parting there down the middle, tying it back.
It happens a lot in black women, doesn't it? When you go lots of braids and lots of things. I've seen like clients, that's where I see it a lot because they're so tight. And
my daughter's mixed, so my daughter's half Ghanaian, so her hair is super curly, huge in terms of how much she's got on her head. When she puts it back, she always says to me, I can't tie it up. She used to be able to. She's 23. But when she was younger, I used to put it into little buns and do all sorts of different styles on it. But now she's like, I can't stand having my hair back. It's always out. She goes, I get pain in the back of my head. And that's just tension on the scalp. So I'm assuming she probably wants to just take everything out and then give it a good massage when she's, you know, finished doing her performance. But yeah, I'd say just to make sure that she's massaging and cleansing the scalp.
There's like maybe softer like styling like.
Well, if you're a ballet
products as
dancer, it's
well,
got to
like,
be, yeah, but it's
maybe
the
like,
tension. It's more the tension.
But like there's one that looks like kind of like a Pritt stick, and then it's like helps pull the hair back, but maybe not. I don't know, like a hairspray with a bristle brush. There's lots of different brands, but there's like a.
Oh yeah, I've seen them
a more,
sticks where they
like,
draw them on.
sticks.
Yeah.
She doesn't. Oh, okay.
It's water, slick, tie,
Yeah, I think making sure that she's keeping that, like massaging her scalp then, and making sure that she's keeping all of that, like, you know, the circulation and all of that sort of really nice stuff, and keeping it balanced and keeping an eye on it. Yeah, sounds like she's doing all right though, so that's good. Where are we? Yeah.
Is yours centered for children to use as well, or age range? I mean, start them young. I mean, there's no reason it not to. We don't kind of lead with that, but yeah, no, it's I formulated everything to be as like as soft as possible, so it's safe to take when you're pregnant and when you're breastfeeding. We actually have a pregnancy and postpartum formula for our supplement. So it's something that when I was pregnant, I was taking a kind of original formula, and then I was adding on some like additional kind of key ingredients that I wanted to take. So we kind of combine them into a pregnancy and postpartum formula. But for children, yeah, there's no reason not to. It's you end up using mine anyway. Yeah.
That's what mine wants to do. My son's got the shampoo.
Yeah, I know.
This is new.
Oh, don't. I've like started hiding mine in the shower. Well, yeah, and I've started hiding mine now from, because I don't have kids, but I've got my other half. And he had to shower the other day, and he was like, I'd washed his hair, and I was like, what have you washed your hair with? Because there's no shampoo in there, because I've took it out. That's body wash. Body wash. And I was like, oh my God. So anyway, when he goes bald, it's his own fault. Anyway, we'll wrap there because we've kept you all for 90 minutes. Sorry. Thank you so much.
Can I just say,
yeah.